Hey Anna, I really like the points that you brought up about Red Harvest, as always. And your question was, what is the biggest thing that stuck out the most about the detective that reminds you of the time that wasn't meant to? I think I added a couple of words in there, but it comes across the same way. So for me specifically, what really is a testament of the time, for me personally, is character archetypes. I'm pretty sure that's pretty common, but that's the very first thing that comes to my mind is the character archetypes, specifically of the Continental Op, the detective's like overall character and the vibe that he gives off, his personality. So I'm going to be giving a brief analysis of that as well as like what that means for the representation of masculinity in the late 20s and early 30s. So, focusing on the detective's character, obviously his character fits into that very typical hard boiled detective archetype, who seems to be a little bit emotionally distant and very reserved and beside himself. In the article, Blue, oh, I can't remember if the last name is Blue or Brew. It's Brew, I'm pretty sure, Breu. Um, It says she describes what she calls the discourse of manliness, which focuses on what she calls a largely interiorized conception of male identity, which is obviously white, middle class, heterosexual, whatever, what they see as the normal man, which is obviously very flawed. But this was the 20s, early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, but obviously, this brings in the symbolism of the hard-boiled detective, specifically the hard-boiled male, um, and what that represented for America at that time. According to Blue, this comes across as a set of American values, very typical American values, like the American dream, but they're pretty contradictory too, and pretty flawed and corrupt. For example, in what she calls an imperializing sense of gender and racial privilege, self sufficiency, and commitment to capitalist enterprise, and obviously heteronormativity, and the big hitter, an overall celebration of a community of men without women. So obviously, women would be, I guess, tying them down. So the ideal universe would just be men without women. Um, because women would either tie them down or entrap them, apparently. Um, so Op's character definitely gives off those same kind of vibes, especially in regards to how men were portrayed and what was seen as the ideal man back at that time. And it's really interesting to see how that representation of masculinity changes and is built upon and how it is fragmented and rebuilt. Um, so it's interesting to see how the representation was at this specific time, especially in that more noir crime genre. I think that's really interesting to look at it in this way. But overall, I really enjoyed hearing your observations about Red Harvest, especially in regards to the setting, the genre, the characters, stuff like that. But really great job.